Alarm this evening, so if an alarm does sound, please leave by the nearest marked fire exit and make your way down the stairs and proceed to the meeting room outside Marks and Spencer's. Committee services staff will provide assistance and direction as necessary. Before formally opening this meeting, congratulate those councillors who are also successful in the recent Essex County Council election. Now moving on to the election of the Mayor.
Point of order, Deputy Mayor 1412.
Would you like to explain that?
Yes, 10C, suspension of the guillotine.
Do you have a second? Yes. We'll move to a vote to suspend the guillotine. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Thanks, lost. Are there any nominations for Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to nominate Councillor Don Morris as being Mayor for the following year. In support, I would say that he didn't acquit himself with good grace and think when he was last in post, and I think he made a very good mayor then, and he would make a very good mayor now. He has a very key community role in that he is a school governor and takes an interest in the school in his area. And he's also been a leader of the Scouts for a number of years, and I think all of that community role and the way he's conducted himself in the past make him an admirable nomination for this post. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to propose Councillor David Harrison as the Mayor for the full-time municipal year. David has been a very busy councillor, busy Mayor for the last year, raising thousands of pounds for his two local charities and attended over 150 engagements in the year. He has represented the borough with distinction and has dedicated the whole year to his civic duties, along with being a fine councillor for Basildon, Wickford and his ward Wickford Park. I cannot think of anyone who will do the job better, so let us all put party politics aside and elect Councillor Harrison for another year.
Any seconders? Any other nominations? As a direct vote, so it's for Councillor Morris.
Was there a second? Sorry,
Yes, it was, yeah, Councillor Cunningham. Those for Councillor Morris. And those for Councillor Harrison. Councillor Harrison has been elected there.
Can I thank you for that. I'll continue to do my best on behalf of the borough. I've tried to do that to the best of my ability for the past year. I've represented the borough when I had this chain on. I know some people will say other times you're a bit political, but I'll represent the interests of my ward as well, in particular, and Wickford in particular at other times. But whilst I've got the chain on, I represent all of the borough, and I do it to the best of my ability, and I hope people appreciate what I've done for the last year. So thank you for your support. I too recognise that Councillor Morris did his bit the year before, and I think it's worth recognising the role that people play in the community, and perhaps next year, Dom. Asking for any apologies for absence, because we've gone through the same things before now. No apologies for absence. Appointment of a deputy mayor. Nominations for deputy mayor, please. Councillor Block.
I'm going to propose Councillor Burton Sampson. I can't name a better or more suited deputy mayor. Apologies, Mayor, if I'm not supposed to be speaking now. Councillor Burton Sampson is firmly embedded and respected within the local community. His work in bringing the LGBT to the forefront is exceptional, and I know that he will extend his passion into all of his work as deputy mayor. I therefore ask you to support this proposal. Thank you.
The seconder, please. Councillor Bennett has seconded that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my privilege to second Councillor Burton Sampson. Katie has just said it all about him, but he will be an absolutely superb deputy mayor, and he will assist you in your not small duties.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Councillor Blake.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Danny Lawrence as Deputy Mayor. He's done an excellent job whilst he was there last time, and I know that he will continue to do that and support you in your role as best he possibly can.
Is there a seconder for Councillor Lawrence? Thank you. Well, we will now take any further nominations. No further nominations. Right. All those in favour of Councillor Burton Sampson, first of all, please. All those in favour of Councillor Lawrence, please show. Thank you very much. Any abstentions? No abstentions. Councillor Burton Sampson is elected as Deputy Mayor. Can I, before I ask Councillor Burton Sampson to say a few words, can I just thank Councillor Stephen Ward, who is unfairly criticised earlier on this evening. I knew that for much of the year he was suffering from some ill health. I did keep fairly regular contact with Steve, and you know, things happen in life and you have to put up with them, and Steve is still doing that. So thank you very much, Councillor Ward.
Just briefly, I would also like to extend my thanks to Councillor Stephen Ward. I know it's been a tough year for you, but thank you for the commitment you've shown to the borough. I too am looking forward to supporting you, Mr. Mayor, over this coming year in representing the borough, and I'm totally committed to doing what I can to support your charities and to represent this council to the best of my abilities. I look forward to getting more involved in the inclusion and diversity area as well, and especially in the current climate. I think that's really important, and I'm looking forward to doing all I can to support this borough and to support you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 5, minutes. Do you have your agreement to sign the minutes of the council meeting held on the 23rd of March? All those in favour, please show. Good abstentions there, aren't there? Okay. Any abstentions? So I'm just not voting. Councillor Morris, Should have done declaration of interests, first of all. Has anybody got any declaration of interests? We haven't got any. That'd be a problem. At this point in time, can I just refer to the charities I chose for the last municipal year? A total of £17,400 was raised, and I've got to thank so many people who helped. But can I first of all thank Louise Brecht, Christina Hart and Karina down here. They helped me throughout the year. I was a bit hard on Louise sometimes, I realise that, but I think she helped me tremendously, despite having to do other roles as well. And that is so much appreciated, it really is. I've also got to thank some of the people outside who helped me raise the money. Some of the schools in the borough are absolutely tremendous, and that's enabled, not me, but us, to provide Wagtail Ward and the Basildon Hospital Children's Ward with some very, very good equipment. I've already managed to get them a very high-spec piece of respiratory equipment, which really helps the youngsters with their breathing. And there are now some new monitoring machines out, which are Wi-Fi, which will be the first in that part of the hospital. And they send information direct to the doctors and the nurses' station to save them being written down, etc. And with the funding I've got, I can give them a hope of 4 of those machines for the 2 children's wards that come at the hospital. At the same time, that comes to a total of 11,600, and I'm giving 5,800 to Luke's Hospice to use at the Luke's, their counselling service for the youngsters who are suffering from the effects of bereavement. I'm gratified from the help I had by so many people. Thank you very much indeed. I have no notice of any further announcements, so we'll move on to item 7, establishment of council committees, allocation of committee seats and appointments to outside bodies. I think there's a document somewhere. I'll put that one down so you can Right. A report from the Chief Executive to circulate to all members. The proposals set out in the Chief Executive's report are based on recent discussions with group leaders. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I begin by congratulating you on your re-election to the mayoralty tonight. I believe you discharged your duties with great humility, passion and a command of the Constitution that no one before you has managed since the invention of the Basildon Borough. I know you'll do the same, and I congratulate David Burton-Sampson on his appointment tonight. I rise to move the order paper, and I do so with great optimism for what it can do for our borough in the next municipal year. The order paper before us is clear in its intention to put power for decision making into the hands of all 42 elected members and take away executive power where key decisions lie in the hands of just a few select people from Billericay. Despite the fake news media's attempts at trying to smear this project in the Basildon Echo, these are the facts. There will be no Basildon Council leader. There will be no Basildon Council deputy leader. There will be 4 service committees known as Policy and Resources, Environment and Regeneration, Infrastructure Development and Growth, and Housing and Community. Alongside the service committees will be the regulatory committees of Planning, Licensing, Audit and Risk and Joint Standards. 3 subcommittees will be formed, allowing for urgent decisions to be taken by a proportionate number of councillors, and this will allow a degree of expediency to be captured within the new governance system. Mr Mayor, in my first speech as leader of the Basildon Labour Group at the AGM of May 2015, I said that night that the challenges facing local government were so vast that no one man or woman and no one political party could possibly have all of the answers to our collective problems going forward. I was clear that I believe greater cooperation was needed in order to restore public confidence and make the best decisions on behalf of our residents. That is why the order paper represents a clear and stark choice between those of us who are putting our faith in the democratic decision-making processes of the elected members of the council versus those who wish to place their trust in the executive. It is a step that I believe is right for the borough. The council has taken a very important step tonight to change the way that decisions are made. Those who voted for that change did so because we believe the council can be more democratic and more effective. It is now incumbent upon all of us to prove that we were right. Of course, the changes we have made did not command the support of all councillors, and neither will this order paper. But whilst we will often disagree about the right course of action to take, I would remind members that that is the point of this chamber and of our local democracy. Our disagreements must be secondary to working together to make things better for the residents we are all here to serve. All of us need to recommit ourselves to listening to what our constituents and our communities are saying and make sound decisions based on good evidence and careful consideration. That is the sort of chairman I will be, and I know others will follow soon. Mr. Mayor, tonight's step change in our governance does not dilute my own desire to argue strongly for the things I passionately believe in. But I will always remember I am one councillor among many. We all have a legitimate voice, and we are all here to represent our communities. Tonight, every single one of the 42 members of this council is liberated to play a more wholesome part in the future of our borough. The business of the council has, of course, continued while we deliberated and debated our changes. The council has its corporate plan and many commitments and obligations it needs to meet. We will need to immediately review and revise the plan to ensure it reflects our new priorities, and this order paper allows us to do that. I want to take this opportunity in moving the order paper to thank the staff of the council for their continued hard work and commitment to ensure we provide the services local people need. I also want to thank the Chief Executive and his staff who worked to enact the change the council has decided on, despite the wholly uncalled for and narrow-minded attacks he came under. Mr. Mayor, a vote for this order paper is a vote knowing that it will be a challenging year ahead. Continued cuts to local government and other public service funding makes it ever more difficult to provide the support and opportunities our community needs. We need to face up to the challenges in an open and transparent way, which this order paper allows us to do, so that people understand what needs to be done and what role they can play to defend services and to make things better in Basildon. 10 years ago, Mr. Mayor, I was drawn to the Labour movement because of a belief in its principal core value, that through the strength of our common endeavour, we achieve more together than we do alone. I believed that a decade ago, Mr. Mayor. I believe it more keenly tonight, and I look forward to working with all 42 councillors to put that principle into practice through this order paper.
Councillor Allport holds the second. No? Councillor Smith the second on St Albans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll have to follow Chairman Callaghan, as he'll be known now. Just need that little red book, Mr. Mayor. There's a good Labour man, he'll take that as a compliment. But on to national politics, I'd like to thank the former MP for Brentford, Eric Pickles, who enabled, under the Locals Act, to bring the system of governance in. And I'm sure our local MPs would have obeyed the Conservative Party line to ensure the Locals Act got through Parliament to enable this. This was a key part to help restore the committee system and giving councils choice. So I think, Mr. Mayor, this should attract universal support. It's not just a Conservative idea, it seems to cross party. And I think that's enough said, really, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Davis.
Two points. Actually, before I start, can I thank you for being your duties last year as Mayor? I'm being non-political about it. I'm grateful for all the charitable work you've done, and I wish you success in the forthcoming year. Please take that up the time to start again. So, in relation to in relation to the 2 points, look, Labour are saying that there's about fake news. If there's any fake news going on, they're saying there's going to be no leader or deputy because we're all going to work together. That's a load of lovely. That's the most fake news I've ever heard. The reality is the reason they can't is because they can't be seen to vote for you as a leader, and you can't be seen voting for them as a leader, otherwise it's a coalition. So the reality is that there is. But I love it when he says, well, it's important that we all work together, Mr. Mayor. And he says, actually, we can do more working together. So I interpret it literally like this. So UKIP and Labour work together, and together they believe they can achieve more. So when you go out and you knock on the door and say, do you have a vote for Labour? What it is a vote for Labour and UKIP, and then vice versa. So basically together, they are coming together to work. We're not allowed to call it a coalition. Don't call it a coalition. Yeah? It is them working together. That's it. Okay, they're working together. I have no problem with that. Call it what it is. Yeah? No leader, no deputy leader. And then we hear this thing about, well, what we want to do is have an involvement of all the members of the democratic control and the business of the council. I think that was the motion that was put forward. And then so, therefore, we're going to spread everything out between everyone. Sorry, I'll look at you. Between everyone, and it'll be a fair system. And that's what's been championed by Councillor Paul Podge. But she has 10 councillors, but she takes 3 positions of responsibility in decision making. Chairman of Infrastructure Growth and Development, Chairman of the review, the urgency and review, and Vice Chairman of Policy Resources. So out of those major positions, she's taken 3. I have those. She's grabbing it all. She's grabbing it all over there. So it's fantastic to hear that involvement of all members in the democratic control and business of the council. Oh, wonderful. Fake news here. It's here first. It's a lovely headline, honestly. But that aside, the politics of it, it is what it is. If you've got the numbers, bring it together, that's fine. And I have no problem with that, because that's the democratic process. And, you know, I wish you good luck in that, and I hope that you will do your best together, working together for the best of the people. And I hope next year that we will take control and we'll carry on doing what we've been doing. So we'll see how it goes. My second point is that I believe that the passing of the previous resolution should have been publicly notified. It should have given in the press, circulated in a newspaper in the area. It should have been in advance. It should have detailed the main features of the change. It should have been pre-notified where those documents can be looked at. For example, the few changes to it that people won't be aware of. And all that, I believe, should have been in place before the resolution. Now, that's not just my view. The Local Government Association talks about that where you devolve powers or change the system, then that you should, ought to, before passing that meeting, publish it. And it says, putting it a few days beforehand, i.e. passing it and then having a full council a few days, is unlikely to meet that objective. We've had no time here at all. It's gone from one meeting to the next, and I think that we are acting unlawfully together. I don't think it's constitutional in relation to our constitution, and it's not of the aims set out, I think, in the statutory provisions. It's certainly not in accordance with the Nolan principles of being, in effect, open and transparent in how we behave. I've set out a full letter to the Chief Executive and Mrs Brown regarding my position and what I believe is the failing of this council to act lawfully. They've told me that they believe that we are. I have to respect their opinions, but I'm sure they will also respect mine. And in relation to going forward, all I would say is that the public should have been engaged. I'm disappointed that we haven't properly notified the public of what is going on ahead today. We are being told by the Chief Executive that it's okay, we can put a public notice in the newspaper, tell them that we're going to make changes, what those changes are, but however, we've already done it.
I think I should point out that all members are sent copies of the legal advice. Sit down. We're given copies of the legal advice given to the council, and we have abided by that legal advice. Councillor Turner. Councillor Turner.
You made a comment there. We all
No,
did it. We all have the
Dave,
advice.
Councillor Davis, please sit down. Councillor Turner's about to speak.
Yes, but Mr.
No,
Chairman,
I've just made a comment in answer to your points you made. That's all I've done. Now, Councillor Turner, please.
yes,
Thank
but
you.
I
Thank
should
you,
have the right to
Councillor
respond to
Turner.
that, because I
No,
don't think
Councillor
it's in the
Turner,
Constitution.
please.
I don't believe it's in the Constitution for you to actually retrieve my comments unless you're going to indicate yourself and speak, because I don't think it's right. You've in effect almost said that, that we've had legal advice, but remember there's been multiple advice. I'm entitled to respond. We're not allowed to say what it is, it's privileged. We're not allowed to do that.
Councillor Turner. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, it surely should be not to congratulate you on your return to the Mayor, and you have done some really good work last year, so congratulations. However, that is your Mayor's side. Politically, we're coming together, you know that. Mr. Mayor, this is what democracy looks like, and let me paint a picture. Every time we've had an order paper, we've circulated that a good period beforehand. We haven't had that courtesy on this tonight, and we now know why. Because Councillor Callaghan didn't have the backbone to do this spin of fake news about, oh, there is no leader. So I'm saying here tonight as the only opposition leader. That's what it amounts to. Basildon is rudderless, even though he has the responsibilities, he doesn't have the guts to put his name up there and say that he's going to lead the council. And we know why. Because he can't. He's a party of 9, and he can't lead the council. He doesn't have a mandate. That's the clear picture that we've got through here. And while this love fest is going to continue, it'll all end in tears, because we know that the parties are desperate. And you yourself, Mayor, I know you're a good socialist at heart. You always have been. We expect you to side with the Labour Party. We don't expect that of a staunch right-winger and their mates.
He wants to protect the Greens.
I looked through this, and it is anything but democratic. We've sold this on the fake news of being open and transparent, and all members are going to play a part. But as Councillor Dad has already said, Councillor Allport Hodge, 3 committees. Yeah? And as I said previously, the Tory party have been dished a deficit of 0.8, while Labour have picked up that 0.8. That clearly is not right, and it was easily to rectify. Now, we had tears before bedtime from Councillor Allport Hodge last time, because she thought that 0.5 basically took a seat off her. And when she says she's extended the olive branch to everybody, no, that's not true, because that olive branch was me handing it over, but they didn't want to play ball because they thought I had taken a seat off them. So what is this all the paper all about? It's not about democracy. When I look through here, the 0.8 is only the start of it. I am a party of 45%. Yet what this does, this order paper gerrymanders, and okay, there's not a leader here that I can actually say you've gerrymandered. So it's the 4 of you have gerrymandered this, because on the subcommittees, this party is down to 40%, and that is just wrong. That is wrong. And they'll still have the same responsibilities that will be delegated from the Policy and Resource Committee. You can't get your way necessarily through the Policy and Resource Committee, so guess what? Let's dilute the Conservatives even more, down to 40%, and stick it under a subcommittee. Oh, and what are those subcommittees all about? It takes just as long to call those as it does a Policy and Resource Committee. And the people on those subcommittees don't even form the Policy and Resource Committee. So it's another basket case. Councillor Callaghan says Councillor Turner didn't turn up to all the meetings. Do you know why, Mr. Mayor? You do know why. Because as an unholy coalition, yeah, an unholy alliance, a coalition, Councillor Turner wasn't invited to all the meetings. You had your secret, recollection, couldn't make one of them, and I sent my deputy, able deputy here, along to sub. I'm not aware of any other committees I've missed. So if I have missed them, is because the Gang of Four met in secret. And this is what I'm dished up with. I've now got an order paper that is clearly not this utopia of openness and transparency. What it is a carver, and we accept that, because that is the unholy alliance that you formed to carve up amongst you. I must say, I never thought I'd see Kerry Smith join that. But good luck to him. Good luck. Good luck to him.
Yeah, build on Basildon, leave Billericay alone.
Good luck. We are building on Basildon. And Mr. Mayor, what about this Billericay cabinet? When we came in, we had £500,000 in the bank. Interest, council tax at 20%. Very mediocre services. Reserves, hardly anything. What we've delivered is 18 million in the bank, good levels of taxation, good services. We've dealt with travellers, we've dealt with Sporting Village, we've dealt with all of that. And here we have an undemocratic process that is dishing all of that aside. Good luck, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Baker.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Well, Councillor Callaghan's new speech as chairman and being a chairman, I guess. Councillor Callaghan, if anybody asks you for a penny you thought, sell. What we have now is we have a coalition. We've seen that, and we'll see with the vote. It's very, very clear with the order paper and with the voting that will come that Labour and UKIP are in coalition. And as I said earlier in my previous speech, I just hope that the National Executive pays notice to that and you get your just desserts. I looked up in the break the definition of leader. A leader is someone who leads an organisational group. A chairman is someone who chairs a meeting. So, quite rightfully, the newspapers would be quite right to now be able to announce that Basildon Council is leaderless. Nobody in charge, rudderless, adrift. What a great message that sends to businesses that want to invest, to organisations who want to get involved. Come to Basildon, there's nobody in charge. So a resident said to me on one of my surgeries recently when they were talking about the council in general, and their words, not mine, they said, well, I suppose that it's all right when you get on 3 or 4 committees, it just snouts in the trough, isn't it? And I said, well, I would hope that you wouldn't ever get a situation where you had more than one person chairing one committee, because, yes, that would be. So unfortunately, I guess, but here we are in the new paradigm. Councillor Callaghan's paradigm of everybody being involved. Well, I noticed that in the Basildon Bus Forum, Conservatives 20%. The Basildon Rail Forum, Conservatives 20%. Basildon Taxi and Private Hire Consultation 20%. Local Council Liaison Group 33%. And the Joint Standards Committee 33%. Well below the even 40% that we talked about. Councillor Ball, very busy chap, 15% of the outside bodies. Councillor Smith, 10%, and due respect to Councillor Smith with his position at county and everything else, I just hope he can cope with all those meetings and they're not going to take us astray on it. Councillor Callaghan, 15% of all the outside bodies. Councillor Orford Hodge, 15%. So you have an independent from Wickford, one independent from Wickford, taking up 15% of outside bodies, and yet again, Councillor Callaghan, Councillor Orford Hodge, the twins in evil, taking 15% of all the outside bodies. And this is the new paradigm of all councillors being involved and all councillors coming together in a group moment of actually doing right for the people. It's, as has been said, it is a stitch-up, and hey, you are where you are. The only thing I would say is that when the residents start to see how it works, you're the guys that have to actually face the electorate.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Councillor Orford Hodge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to take this opportunity of congratulating you on your re-election as Mayor, and also Councillor Burton Sampson as Deputy Mayor, so congratulations. In 2014, the Tories lost the majority they had held for a decade on this council. That's democracy. It was local people that decided at the ballot box that no single party should have an overall majority on this council. Political leadership is not an easy road to navigate, but I have to acknowledge that while I have not been 100% supportive of the Basildon Tory group's policies or the decision-making process, Councillors Turner and Blake and their cabinet members have dedicated their efforts as elected councillors, as public servants, and for that we must thank them. However, this is now the third time I have stood up as leader of the opposition and said at an annual council meeting that it is incumbent upon us all in this chamber to accept the will of our local electorate, set aside our differences and work together in the interest of local people. And to do this, all political parties in Basildon need to demonstrate a maturity of will to embrace a different way of working. Similarly, I've also said before in this chamber that politics in Basildon is broken and has been for some time, and that we need to start afresh and show the public that we want to bring about change and that we should collectively aim to change the image, reinvent the way in which we engage with each other, and more importantly, engage with residents. It is for these reasons that I have been repeatedly quoted in the press stating that UKIP were and are willing to work with all parties. It was for these reasons that UKIP supported the introduction of the meaningful scrutiny committees last May, and it is also for these reasons that UKIP advocated the move to a committee system at Council in December. The Tory leader of the council has, on more than one occasion, stood up and said that he didn't know what UKIP stood for. I have never wavered in my support for democracy, and I have never wavered in my support for open and transparent decision making. This is what UKIP stands for, and I fear the Tories simply failed to listen. UKIP will be supporting the order paper. It's the right committees, looking at those issues that residents care about. It's a natural progression forward following the implementation of the scrutiny committees last May, and we very much look forward to working together with all political parties in the interest of local people. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I've got three further speakers, then I'll ask.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask for a point of clarification order?
Is it a point of order?
Yes, it is.
Which one is it?
Under the Council Standard Procedure Rules, I take it we're now operating under the new rules. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. And at page 4.1.4, if everyone's got their copy, it says,
Which one?
4.1.4, annual meeting of the council. So, 4.1.1, I've got that.
1.1. Yep.
I don't think there's Of course, the Article 1 says that we will act in accordance with the Constitution. You'll see that the timing and the business of the council, it says under the Roman numerals, and I don't believe it's changed, no one's proposed a change of order. No, under the Roman numeral 7, there should be election of the leader of the council. Number 8, note that the leader is proposed for cabinet, although the cabinet's gone. And I wondered if we can just clarify whether there's going to be a leader of the council under that process, whether there's going to be a leader proposed for cabinet. But I don't understand why is that the order if we're not following that order.
We are not following that order, absolutely. You've got it in one.
But actually under Article 1...
Because the ones in italics are statutory ones and the others are not.
Well, if you look under Constitution on Article 1...
One second, please.
Sorry, can I raise the other point?
No, I'm going to congratulate you. Hang on a sec. I'm going to congratulate you on finding something which isn't quite right.
Oh.
Let me finish. And of course, later on, the Constitution does give the monitoring officer the power to actually correct anomalies, which is one you've just found. I'm sure with your expertise, you'll find many more if there are there. But thank you for that.
Mr. Mayor, one second. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, could I just raise another point forward there? Because thank you for confirming that. Under the Constitution, under Article 1, it says that we will, and the Constitution, we will conduct business in accordance with the Constitution. Whilst there is a provision within the new Constitution for the monitoring officer to make changes, those changes are not in advance at this moment in time. So in other words, the council's meeting and the conduct of the meeting should be in accordance with the Constitution. How we're operating at the moment is unlawful. There may be a quick draft from Lorraine Brown. Can I just finish the point? There may be a draft proposal now going forward to be voted on. But at the moment, as it stands, we are acting unconstitutional. And can I make this point, Mr. Mayor? There are actually many anomalies within this Constitution. And what I'm saying is that if we are to act lawfully, and you are custodian to make sure we act lawfully, that order is not being followed. That order should be followed.
Thank you, Councillor Downs. We know the points you've made. Councillor Jackman.
Thank you, Mayor, and just to congratulate yourself and Deputy Mayor on your reappointment. Much of what I'm going to say has already been picked up by my colleagues. Today, it was mentioned the committee system is more inclusive. Would include everyone in the new big tent that's or speech that we've heard many times in this council, typically by the Liberal Party who are represented currently. But it's very interesting, isn't it, that how power has actually concentrated more between four individuals: Councillor Hodge, Councillor Smith, Councillor Callahan, and Councillor Ball. I would have recognised that Councillor Smith and Councillor Ball only chair one committee, but the size of their groups equally is perhaps not reflective of the position they hold. What most alarmed me, because I've been playing amateur politics for some time, was the outside positions and how Councillor Hodge, for example, holds 6. Councillor Smith holds 6, Councillor Callahan holds 4, and Councillor Ball holds 5. Now, some of those positions are extremely critical. They are soft power. They're not particularly using the authority as a vehicle, but they use influence. They use our ability to talk to surrounding authorities, to talk to London authorities, to talk to highway authorities, to really get things done and drive things forward, because they do move incredibly slowly. That's one thing I've learned in local government. You know, they say in business, double the time, think about it. But in local government, we could probably quadruple the time. I've spent a great deal of time looking at the A127. I've even found maps, the lost maps of Essex County Council, the 1998 study funded by Basildon Council, which has gone amiss by Essex, amazingly. I have spent some time looking at Network Rail, and I've been informed by the former chairman of the Rail Forum the considerable work undertaken in Pitsea to build a new bridge linking Pitsea Station to the town. The work has been lost, the chaplain's retired, and we're going to start again. Councillor Hodge, you will have undertaken a tremendous task, and in some ways I can see the benefit of having an individual who has a sort of big picture view. But 3 committees, 6 outside posts, you will be an extremely busy person. Extremely busy person. It also opens a question as to what trust you have, what ability you have to bring the people on who sit behind you, how you share power, how you encourage them, how your group communicates amongst itself, how you reflect the views of the people you represent. And I am alarmed. Obviously, as a Conservative, we have quite a few regular faces here who've been here some time. We have some experience, and I actually feel with the way the outside positions have been monopolised, you are damaging the people of Basildon by not sharing the power amongst your group. None of us are guaranteed we will be a return to office, and very often, we lose good councillors. That's why it's important that power, knowledge, information, the ability to manoeuvre through, particularly the outside bodies, should be ingrained within those that sit behind you, that things do move on. The loss of one councillor should not prevent the advancement of Basildon. So, we certainly have 4 individuals who will be extremely busy, and no doubt these ranks will hold you to account.
Point of clarification, Mr. Mayor. There's no such thing as a point of clarification. A point of order, if you've named a point of order.
There is no point of order because you actually confirmed to Councillor Dad, presumably on the advice of the Chief Executive, that he was correct in his assertion that this is an unlawful meeting.
No, I did not.
I just want to make sure that that's what I heard.
No,
so did you confirm? No. Could you reconfirm what you said to Councillor Dad when you said he was correct, having asserted that this is an unlawful meeting?
No, I said I noted what he said. You listened carefully.
That's why I wanted a point of clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. No, Councillor Mrs. Morris, I'm calling. Sorry, Councillor.
I'd like to put the question to the vote, please, Mayor.
Have you a seconder? Been seconded? Has been just a moment, please. We're just there's a point of order made. The question we put. There's a question now. A vote on whether or not we have the question be put. All those in favour of the question being put, please show. All those against the question being put, please show. Abstentions? The question will now be put. The question under discussion is on page 3 and the top of page 4 of the report issued. Committees? Yes? Yes, sorry. My apologies. Callahan does have the opportunity to wind up, I apologise.
Thank you, Mr. I'll keep this brief. I have to say, our resident silk in the front bench there in the Tory party, I'm slightly disappointed. I expected to turn up and be more intellectually challenged, but I've ended up being bored. We've had 1 out of 10 correct. I hope your clients get better value for money, my friend, than that.
No, there's a point. No, Councillor Dabbs, no, you can't. I want to speak. Just sit down and listen, please.
Yeah,
Councillor Callahan.
I'm trying to raise the point of order, and I want to raise the point of order.
All right, yeah, but not in the middle of someone's speech.
Well, I can, because if someone impugns the character of anyone here, you can ask them to retract it.
I was about to... I agree. If you listen, I was about to do that. I was going to ask Councillor Callahan, please withdraw that remark, because I thought it was unnecessary. Yes. And I hope you would do it.
Mr. Mayor, of course, in deference to you, I will retract. There we go. I want to deal as well with what Councillor Baggett said as well, because there is this fixation. I'm seeing this on social media with the Labour NEC. I'm not quite sure, by the way, who does the Basildon Tory Twitter account. I think it might be the councillor that treats these meetings like a fancy dress party. But if it is, then just to point out, we had a panel, it was agreed unanimously, so try again. Councillor Jackman told us that he spends most of his time looking at maps. Councillor Turner, I want to say on behalf of the Labour group, whether they accept it tonight or not, I know emotions are running high, but I think that to stand up in politics at any particular moment in time is difficult. The current landscape is difficult, and to assume leadership positions, as Councillor Turner and Blake have done over the course of the last few years, it takes respect. And you have ours for what you've done. I absolutely do. They've spoken about guts as well, and you know, Councillor Sargent, I'm never going to forget that now, has looked at me in the eye and told me I don't have guts. I think it really does take courage to do what the opposition members have done tonight, because we have come together and put the borough before party. And I think that is actually the right thing to do. And Councillor Turner tells us that he wasn't invited to all meetings. The reality is he took us for drinks, he had one-on-one meetings with us, he rang us, he texted us, he tried everything he possibly can. But the problem was, he just wasn't very persuasive. Hence why we've ended up being here. And the reason he wasn't persuasive, Mr Mayor, is because all of us are the absurd claim, the best one of the lot, Mr Mayor, that if you somehow build a Costa and a cash point at the front of a hospital, that is blue sky thinking and vision. A 25-year agreement for a Costa and a cash point, do me a favour. We didn't trust them on Dial and Impact, did we? We didn't trust them when they were starving our twinning projects of cash. Didn't trust them. People should be proud to vote for this order paper tonight. This is an order paper, Mr Mayor, that is for north and south of this borough, for young and old, and we should all be proud to get on with the job of voting for it.
We now vote on the recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 on pages 3 and 4 of the report. All those in favour, please show. All those against, please show. Thank you very much indeed.
Point of order. I did stand up. Yes. Can I approach you with Councillor Blake in relation to that point of order? Is one again one A 7. I'd like to approach you, please.
Long way round.
You sit there grinning. You sit there grinning. If you've got a Basildon postcode, Brentford gets a call. You just get a Billericay postcode, get village status.
It's true.
Am I right?
It's
Am I
true.
right?
A little bit of silence, please.
Dalton ain't happening. Full stop. No, it's not.
You're not running it. You'll be a negative pain. You've done it the right way. We're worried about power. I can't do
Steve.